Well. Merry Christmas to you all. Welcome back to the Final Word with MattyB here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. This Christmas Day edition, a very special episode of the program today as we come at you on Christmas Day, the holiest day of the year, the funnest day of the year. Again, I said this yesterday when we were on for Christmas Eve. I'm actually more of a Christmas Eve fan than I am a Christmas Day fan, but we're here, and I hope that this night finds you all well. I hope that everybody's wishes and dreams came true this morning. When you opened up your presents, I hope Santa provided you everything that you wished for, and all your dreams came true. And I'm glad that you're here with me on this Christmas Day night. Let me now take care of you, as you probably have had a busy day dealing with family, friends, loved ones, presents, kids, batteries, instructions on how to put together things. Sit back now and let's relax and let's have some fun. Let's wrap up this Christmas Day in style, talking some sports, right? Again, I'm happy to be here, and I wish everybody out there a very Merry Christmas, and I hope your day went well. Quiet day here for me. Celebrated with some family and friends last night, but today, taking it easy, relaxing, as I typically like to do on Christmas Day, because, that's just the way it is. Again, I'm a bigger fan of Christmas Eve than I am Christmas Day. I don't know. I just think it's better. It's fun. It's more fun. A lot more anticipation in the air. A lot more festivity for me in the air. But again, I hope everybody out there had a great Christmas Day, and you got everything that your heart desired, and that your day of your dinner was good, and that whatever you did today to kind of pass the time. Maybe you sat around, watched some football, maybe you watched some basketball, maybe you just sat and just sort of unplugged for the day and stepped away from all that. I hope you enjoyed it. We're back here tonight, and we're going to come at you, and we're going to do what we have to do. And again, in a special Christmas episode of the program, controversialists. That's right. I'm not going down no rabbit holes tonight. I'm taking a break from the I guess reality. Is that what I'm taking a break from? I'm taking a break from reality tonight. As we'll talk your day in Philadelphia sports history. We're going to go over some NFL scores, the games that happened today. There was two of them. Some implications on the playoff race. And I'm going to do a special little thing tonight, because in this day of gift giving and this day of gift receiving, I thought it'd be cool to ask all four of the major Philadelphia sports teams for a present. Yes, I'm asking for a present from the Flyers, the Sixers, the Phillies, and the Eagles. And on this day of giving, on this Christmas Day, I want to know if the teams will give me the presents that I'm asking for. And I'm going to ask them, and we're going to talk about what those presents are here in a minute. So, Brad, that's going to be a chunk of the show, is my present request from the four major Philadelphia sports teams. And maybe whether or not they'll grant it for me, I don't know. We're also going to do of the night segment, a little WJC check-in. We're less than 24 hours away. Matter of fact, I think the first game tomorrow is like 9 o'clock. The World Junior Championship, IIHF Ice Hockey, will start tomorrow in Ottawa, and we'll be there, and we have you covered. And I'll explain how that logistical thing will work out, as we'll be bringing you coverage of that event for the next 2 weeks. Our card review segment, and just that's about that. That should suffice on this Christmas Day. Let me remind everybody at home, if you're keeping track, 50 days now until pitchers and catchers report to Clearwater. That's 50 days to the start of spring training for the Phillies in 2025. So let's get into our day in Philadelphia sports history. We had one minor event that occurred on this day back in 1986. It was a homecoming of sort for a former Sixer who was traded in June of that year. Made his return to the Spectrum at this point. His first game back in Philly since being traded. Moses Malone returned as a member of the Washington Bullets on this day back in 86 against the Sixers on Christmas Day, and lit the Sixers up with 29 points and 12 rebounds. 29 points and 21 rebounds to help the Bullets beat the Sixers 102-97 in the first of many. The Moses Malone trade was the first of many really bad trades that kind of destroyed the Sixers, from the mid 80s on, and they haven't really recovered yet. But on this day, Moses Malone returned home to face the Sixers on Christmas Day and took it to them. But the Sixers today, they took it to the Celtics. Very impressive win up there from the Sixers. So I guess you have to look at the future, or at the present, not the past. But we gotta focus on today. That was your moment in Philly sports history. Moses Malone returning back to Philadelphia against the Sixers, dropping 29 points and putting down 21 rebounds for the Washington Bullets in their victory over the Sixers on this day in '86. So there you go. Your day in Philadelphia sports history. All right, so let's get into it. On this Christmas Day, I, of course, like everybody else, we all like to receive presents. We all like to get gifts from the people that mean the most to us in this world. Matter of fact, I don't even care if I know the person. I'll receive a gift from you. I'll take a gift. I'll give a gift. And I think it's appropriate on this day for me to ask each one of our Philadelphia sports teams for a present. And I think it's appropriate for them to give it to me. Now, as we'll go through this, I just want everyone to understand that all of these presents, I'm not going to give you the easy one. I'm not going to ask for a Super Bowl. I'm not going to ask for an NBA championship. I'm not going to ask for a Stanley Cup. I mean, it's obviously that's what we all want, right? That's what the end state of all this is championships. But I'm going to ask for pathways to those championships, things that I believe need to happen currently for the present day teams in order to win championships. So I understand that, everyone's gift idea from the Sixers would be an NBA championship, or obviously everyone's gift idea from the Eagles would be a Super Bowl title. I understand that, but I'm asking for more specific details to achieve those. And let's get it going. And I guess we can get it on with the Sixers, seeing how they won today against the Boston Celtics. I guess they can be our first team in the hop. I've already told you what actually, there's more than one gift. I mean, some of these are going to be multiple presents. I'm going to get greedy with some of these teams. Some of these teams might be one. Actually, only one team out of the four, I'm asking for one thing. Everybody else, I'm asking for multiple things. So I didn't say this was realistic. And I am going to be greedy when it comes to some things. But for the Sixers, there's a multitude of things that I want in order to win the ultimate goal, which is championships. The first thing is on the table is the trade of Joel Embiid. I think that it's appropriate to ask for that. I think over the past 3 years, it's pretty evident and pretty obvious that this guy is not a champion. That this guy, one, he can't stay healthy long enough to be in the playoffs, let alone stay healthy enough to go on a deep playoff run. And, let's face it, he comes up small in those situations in his history with this team. And there's been a lot, and it's funny too, because, I come out on the side of somewhat unrealistic takes. And I was looking at some old footage from some shows way back in the summertime about people getting lambasted because they were criticizing the Philly struggles like mid-June. So they were kind of criticizing the Philly struggles, and they were getting destroyed by some people that were tuning into these shows. And it just makes me kind of laugh because obviously, where there was smoke with the Phillies in June, there was definitely fire. And but same thing applied to Joel Embiid. For years, I've heard people begging for the trade of him, saying that, listen, he might be the centerpiece of the process, and he has been in a. There was a moment in time where his trajectory was being one of the greatest in the NBA, but that has not been achieved. It leveled off at some point. A lot of people are going to say, well, the Sixers didn't do him any credit either. They didn't do him any good. They didn't provide him with a team. There is something to that too. But unfortunately, we're in a position now where we're not going to be able to provide him a team. We have moved past that phase. And to be realistic, we've moved past the phase of trading him too, because he just signed the contract. He's not going anywhere. But that is my first present from the Sixers. I want a Joel Embiid trade. The second present I want is to scrap the idea of that new arena down in Chinatown. I think that's going to be an absolute disaster. I'm not saying they shouldn't get their own facility and their own stadium, and I'm not saying that, but not there. I don't get the reasoning around it. I don't get the logistics of that. Why not use that South Philly industrial area, that stadium complex area right now? Just expand it out. There's plenty of room down there to build another stadium for the Sixers. So get rid of that. That's my second present that I'm requesting from the Sixers. My third is Daryl Morey's got to go, man. Daryl Morey has got to go today. This guy was not given a great product to come. He stepped into a bad situation, and I get that. But he has taken that and made it a worse situation with some of the trades, with the signings. Things were looking good at the end of the year. We were getting away from a lot of bad contracts, and then all we did was bring on some more bad ones. So Daryl Morey's got to go, and he needs to take Elton Brand with him. But I'm not wasting a present request on Elton Brand. But Daryl Morey's got to go and take Elton Brand with him. And my final request from the Sixers, my final present request, Josh Harris, sell the team. There should be a rule in place that you have to have somewhat community ties to the product or to the team that you buy. You have to be a Philly person. You have to be a New York person, a Jersey person, or whatever, wherever you're trying to buy a team from. You have to have community ties to that team. That's one of the things that has happened over the last 30 years in sports that has completely, in my opinion, driven sports kind of down. Is these corporations and these companies and these multi-billionaires. And again, I understand why they're doing it. It's an open capitalist society and have at it, but it sucks for the fan because I don't think Josh Harris has any skin in the fight. He doesn't have championship skin. He's got money in it. And as long as he's turning a profit and as long as he's making more money, at the end of the day, he could care less about an NBA championship. Absolutely could care less, as long as he's making money. Now, obviously, if they've sat down and maybe they should do this. Maybe they should sit down and give Josh Harris the numbers, projected numbers of how much more money he would make if they were winning championships. And if that was, that maybe that would spur him on to be more, attentive to the Sixers. Or maybe they have done that and it just doesn't, it ain't worth it. Hell with it. I'm making more money now. Doesn't really matter. So, but Josh Harris needs to sell the team. So there's my 5 requests. I got really greedy with the Sixers. 5 requests for Christmas presents from them. I want Joel Embiid traded, Daryl Morey fired, and Elton Brand with them. I want the arena project scrapped for Center City, and I want Josh Harris to sell the team. Do you think I have a chance at any of them? Or out of those 4 or 5, what is the one I do have the most legitimate chance at? Is it the trade of Joel Embiid? I don't know. But there you go. There was my Sixers there's my Santa Sixers gift request. Please, we have a few more hours before Christmas is over. We could still make it happen for me. My tree is still up. The lights are on. Come on down here and hook me up with one or all those those present requests. And there you have it. So I want to remind everybody before we continue on with this show is brought to you by the great folks here over the It's a Wrap Sports Network, and everything that we do to try to make this, and we're building this product to try to make it bigger, better, happier. And please like and subscribe on our YouTube link and all of our other social media links as we're broadcasting out everywhere. And we need your help. We definitely need your help. So please help us out. We are talking my gift requests from the major Philadelphia sports teams, to 4 of them. And I already just went over the Sixers. Now we're going to transition to the Phillies. And this is completely based on a very uninspiring offseason of reclamation projects, walking wounded, the triage unit that we have assembled here in the offseason to try to help us out. And the type of player the Phillies have gone after. Pitching, which obviously we need. They signed 2 relievers and a starter. Okay. Offense. What are we doing here? I need some help offensively, and I need a gift from the Phillies. I need something to help me out, man. And I, when I went into the offseason, I was realistic about not getting Juan Soto. I didn't think Juan Soto was coming here. I just didn't think that was a legitimate situation for the Phillies. They've had too many other contracts, too many bigger contracts. So I was not upset when Soto signed elsewhere. I was more upset that he signed with the Mets than than signing elsewhere in general. But there doesn't seem to be any kind of movement when it comes to the offense. And what we were told, and I remember a lot of people are going back to that end of season press conference that they gave, and they're getting upset because they feel that they were told certain things. They weren't really, if you go back and watch that, Dombrowski never said he was going to do anything. Dombrowski said he was going to take a look at things. But then at the end of that, he would always go double down and say, I like what we have. I like the team we are. I think we're a good team. I think we have good players. So-and-so had a bad year. So-and-so needs to be better, but I like what we have. I'll take a look at that, but I like what we have. So there was no guarantees given that the Phillies were going to do anything offensively. And yes, Alec Bohm has been reportedly been dangled out there. Teams have called for him, but the Phillies were unrealistic in their trade request, allegedly. And Alec Bohm remains. And I know the rumors are out there that Alec Bohm will be traded at some point. They still high belief that he'll be traded. And what have you. But the Alec Bohm situation be damned. I mean, if they don't trade him, right, what is Alec Bohm going to be like when he gets to spring training? I mean, does somebody ask him that? How do you feel that your name was drug all over the place by Phillies fans, local sports talk people about not wanting you in Philadelphia? How do you feel about that? I mean, we already know he has a maturity problem to begin with. I mean, how's he going to be in Clearwater after all this if he doesn't get traded? But with that being said, I need an offense. I need one. I need one more player. I need some offensive help. And I wasn't in on this guy from the start of offseason. I did not want him to come here on this player I'm about to ask you. I'm about to ask the Phillies for. I didn't think it was necessary. And I think tying ourselves to him over a long term, which is what he's going to want, is not necessarily healthy for this team. But at this particular point, as I've watched the Mets get better, as I've watched the Braves get better, as I've watched a lot of teams in Major League Baseball get better over the last 2 months, and the Phillies stand pat with what they have offensively, I'm going to go back on everything I've said and request a present from the Phillies, and that's Alex Bregman. Bring me Bregman. I think that the Phillies, they need some offensive help, and right now he's like the last superstar left, maybe, if you want to characterize him. And it's a signing for help, because he could provide you a lot more offense than Alec Bohm can at third base. So that should provide you more defense than Alec Bohm will also provide you at third base. He does have his postseason problems. He's been tailing off in the postseason over the last couple seasons. And I'm not in love with a 7-8 year contract, because I think Aiden Miller is the future of this team. And I think in about 2 years, Aiden Miller will be ready to come up and take over at third base. But as this window continues to close, and it's going to, JT Realmuto, there's already been some speculation about his durability in 2025 and him not playing much in first base. One of the things that was mentioned during the press conference was giving Realmuto specifically more time off. So now we're going to take his dwindling offensive ability, which is decreasing. We're going to take that out of the lineup a couple days out of the week or twice out of 7-day period. I need more offense, man. I need it. And I'm going back on what I said. Give me Alex Bregman. Give me the big splash move with the window that's closing. If we want to win a World Series, offensively, we're not good enough to win a World Series right now. Does anybody else need any further proof of that? This is the same unit from 22, same unit from 23, same unit from 24. And now we're bringing them back in 25, expecting something different. They're not good enough offensively to win a World Series in 2025. Is anybody else, and I'm asking this honestly, does anybody else need more convincing of that? Is it a left field thing for me to say? Have you not seen enough to see that what they are is a team that strikes out a lot, a team that cannot hit for a damn with runners in scoring position, and a team that lives and dies with the home run? That's not changing with this group heading into 2025. And with every passing day, as it looks more and more inevitable that they are running it back offensively, how can anybody go into the season thinking they're going to win a World Series when they haven't proven over the last 3 years they can do it with the same group? So I'm going back on what I said about Bregman. I wasn't in on it, and I was only not in on it because of the contract length. I don't want to be locked into a 10, 11-year deal with a guy like that. But now with no movement offensively so far this offseason, with letting other teams get bigger and better and badder around them, with losing traction, at least on paper, in the NL East and in the NL, bring me Bregman. Bregman or Alonso. I'll take Pete Alonso too. I'm going to move Bryce Harper's ass back to right field, and Alonso can be the first baseman. He's had enough time to recover and heal to go back out the right field. So bring me Bregman or Alonso, but I need one of them. I need one of them. We need one of them. If we want to legitimately try to compete and shake up this lineup that's improperly constructed and be done with the days of Bryson Stott batting in the fifth hole, and alleluia be praised, no more Kyle Schwarber leading off. We can't do it unless we bring in another bat, or possibly two. So I'm going to go back on what I said about Bregman. I wasn't on board with Bregman. I wasn't, because I don't like the length that he's going to want. But at this point, with the stagnation, the lack of movement, give me Bregman, man. That's what I'm asking the Phillies for this Christmas. In the 3 hours of Christmas we have left, or 2.5, sorry, of Christmas we have left, bring me Alex Bregman. And then you can do whatever you want with Alec Bohm and Brandon Marsh. I don't care. So there you go. Is it a legitimate one? Is it a legitimate one? Trade the farm for Trout. I don't think so, man. No, I don't need Trout, man. No. Come on, man. Mike Trout, maybe 5 years ago. Mike Trout's got to figure out his injury problems, man. Got to figure out those injury problems. And Mike Trout doesn't want to be here. If he wanted to be here, he would have just waited out free agency. He would have let his contract expire and come back here as a free agent and sign on his own accord. Now, I don't want anybody who doesn't want to be here. Right? But bring me Alex Bregman. Or a acceptable substitution would be Pete Alonso. Because either way, I can make either one of those work. I can trade Bohm. I can actually be realistic now. If I picked up Bregman, I could be realistic for what I'm looking for Bohm, which would be maybe another insurance starter. Maybe a fringe fifth guy, long reliever, AAA guy. I mean, it can fit all three of those categories. I can actually be realistic in what I'd want for Bohm, not Mason Miller, which is never going to happen. So that would make it more realistic. If you give me Alonso, Bryce Harper's ass is going back to right field in a flash, in a heartbeat. Go back to right field. The outfield will balance back out. It would be Harper in right. It would be what's his face? Kepler in left. The hell am I going to do with Castellanos? You know what? I'm going to put Castellanos in left and Kepler in center. Yep. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. So bring me Alex Bregman or bring me Pete Alonso. But that's what I'm asking for. So if the Phillies are listening, Dave Dombrowski, if you're listening, I want one of those two guys, because you have failed me this offseason so far. You have failed to do anything. You failed to bring in any kind of supplementary pieces for the offense. You are telling the Phillies faithful that we're running the offense back. And that's got us. Am I the only one who's really, really, really concerned about that? Of an offensive group that has failed since 22 and has regressed since 22. That we're going to bring back the same group and expect different results? I don't know about that, man. So there you go. There's my request from the Phillies. I want Alex Bregman, and I don't care anymore about the contract. Just bring him here. Bring me somebody. All right, let's go to the Flyers. My favorite team to talk about. Flyers. Danny Briere and Keith Jones. They are the new darlings in town. They have led the team into a known rebuild era. But what's happened with the known rebuild era is that people in this city and in Flyers Nation around the world are starting to understand what a rebuild is. And it's not something that takes overnight. It's not. And I don't think people were really prepared for that. I don't think people were really aware of what acknowledging a rebuild and what it meant to acknowledge your rebuilding really meant. It meant you're stepping out of the limelight for about 5 years. I mean, let's face it. And that's if you do it right. If you do it wrong, you could be gone for 10. You really could be, right? You could be gone for a lot longer. But I am here to tell you, I don't accept that. No, I don't. I don't accept that because I don't think it has to be that long. I don't think it has to be that long. I like some of the pieces on this team. I think we have a base. Now, is it going to take more than 2 years? Yes. But it should take less than 5. And based on what happened last year and the competitive nature of the team throughout most of the season, and then the trade deadline decision to trade Sean Walker, which I was totally okay with. Then also the injuries to the defense at the end of the year and the Carter Hart drama. I think everything, with all that, I think it worked out pretty well. But heading into this season, there were some false expectations for this team. There were some false expectations. And some things have not worked out. They tried to warn us in the beginning. The coach himself tried to warn us about Sam Urson in the goalie situation. He was like, and I know it. I remember hearing it. He said it. I don't feel comfortable, and I don't know what the goalie thing is going to be. I don't, but we're going to give it a shot. Now, as for the goalie, I'm okay with what they're doing because there's no real way to fix that unless going out and signing a hot free agent goaltender just is not in the cards for the Flyers. One, there aren't any, and two, the Flyers can't afford them. So you only have one option here, and that's build from within. You could trade, but again, you don't have the cap room in order to take on a contract right now. And long term, the position of goalie, obviously, is somebody you want to have kind of within your organization that works his way through and settles in. That's just the only way that's going to happen. And goalie, unfortunately, is one of those positions where, and we know it more than anybody else in the NHL knows it, how hard it is to find a goalie, cultivate that goalie, and then have that goalie yield anything for you before you lose your patience with them. And the Flyers franchise and the Flyer fan base, they probably can attest to that more than any other fan base around the country, around national hockey. I mean, come on, let's face it. Been looking for a goalie replacement for Pelle Lindbergh for 40 years. I mean, that's the bottom line. And that search continues. As far as Urson, Kovaslov, Fedotov, Zarajin, and Bjornsson are the 4 main Flyer prospect or 5 main Flyer prospect goalies they have currently in the system. There's a starter there somewhere. One of them is a starter. I don't know which one that is. We're seeing some problems from Urson. We saw some flashes from him, but he's regressed since coming back from that injury about 2 weeks ago. He's struggled. Kovaslov is not getting enough time in net right now in order to develop himself. Fedotov sits inactive every night, right? So we're getting a little bit of. I think what I'm getting impatient with is the fact that there's so like, what are we doing with the goalies? Why is Fedotov still not been sent back to the minors? Why can't he go down there and play? Cal Peterson is the starter for the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. I mean, really? Cal Peterson doesn't have a future with this team. Why aren't the Flyers playing Fedotov down in the minors? Right? And why is Kovaslov not getting an opportunity up here to play? What's it been? 10 games now that he started? Or, yeah, something like that. 6 to 10 games, somewhere on there. So I understand what they're doing, and I understand how they're going about it, but it's getting a little frustrating because a lot of guys are just kind of standing around. So I don't think there's a quick fix for the goalie situation, and that's what I'm pretty much getting at. So I'm not looking to improve the team that way. I'm not looking to outwardly improve the team through goalies. They're going to have to figure that out. What I want to do is I want to actually get aggressive, and I want the Flyers to bring me a scorer. Is that such a hard ask in year 2 of a rebuild? Is that a hard ask for me? And I attest this year 3 actually of a rebuild. I don't care what Chuck Fletcher said his last year. The team was floundering at that point, and they haven't made any major additions since that last year of Chuck Fletcher. So yes, this is year 3 of a rebuild for me, and with most of these players. Is it a hard ask for me to bring in another score just to kind of say, you know what, we need you? I mean, there's no, and what frustrates me is that, like, Anthony Gargano, in my little conversation I had with him a couple weeks ago, looked at me like I was like I had 3 heads growing out of my neck when I said it's time to try to potentially move some people along, because they have gone kind of what they are. And I don't think it's a matter of, okay, we need to give Morgan Frost 20 more games. We need to give Farabee 30 more games, and they're all of a sudden going to blossom into something different. No, they are what they are. And he looked at me like I was crazy when I started saying it's time to look at potentially moving some players along and bringing in some new talent. Why the hell? Why is that so weird to say? Do we have to wait a mandatory period of time? 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. In year 5, on day 84, on month 7, you can now make trades. It is now the appropriate time during the rebuild to say, you know what? Joel Farabee ain't going to score more than 15 goals a game. Let's trade him now. Or Morgan Frost is what he is. He'll go hot and then go cold over long periods of stretches. And in that time, while he's cold, he's going to frustrate the hell out of you. But we can't trade him yet because he hasn't reached the minimum amount of games for us to trade him. Because that's what the sports talk experts in this town say. What are you, crazy? You can't trade players right now. They're in the middle of a rebuild. Well, what the hell else are we going to do? So I'm looking for a score. I'm not looking for much. One guy. One guy. Bring in somebody from the outside. And there's 3 players that I'm looking at. 3 of them. 3 potential targets. And these are long-term type situations. We could grow with these 3 players. It's not like I'm looking for one player in 24, 25. No, I'm looking for this guy over the next 3 to 4 years. He could be that complement to Michkov, if Michkov is the answer, which I don't know if he is. 11 goals for MattyB Michkov so far this season. Outstanding. 4 of them have been on 5-on-5. The rest has been on the power play, shorthanded, or in overtime. Why can't he score 5-on-5? And he hasn't scored in a while. Yeah, he's kind of gone cold. So is Michkov going to be part of the future? 100%. But is he the face of the franchise? I think that question is still debatable. I absolutely think that question is still debatable. Is he a first liner, a second liner? Yeah, absolutely. But is he the next Ovechkin? The next Crosby? I don't know. I don't know about that. But he is something to build around. I'll give you that. But will we lack help, or we lack talent or depth or bodies? NHL-ready people right now is in that center position. We don't have any of them. This team is devoid of true center talent. How does an organization get that way? How do we get so bad where we don't have any centers on this team right now? One, we don't have a true number 1 center. How do the Flyers, and again, this is the second year of a no true number 1 center. It's not like we've identified it this summer. They knew it last year. They knew it the year before that. Matter of fact, they knew it since the minute they traded Drew, that there wasn't a true number 1 on this team. What have they done to address that? They've drafted Luchenko, right? They've drafted a couple guys. And I'm high on a lot of those guys too. So I get all that. But why not go out and get me one player? One. All I'm asking for is one. And I have 3 options for you. The first one is a guy that we've talked about before and that the Flyers have targeted before. Trevor Zegras from the Anaheim Mighty Ducks. He's under contract through, 26. So he's under contract this year and next year. And then when he does hit free agency, he's an RFA. So he's under team control after that. Trevor Zegras would be the first part the first center, true number one center that we could bring here. And there's been talks. The Flyers have been linked to him. Danny B likes doing business with Anaheim. Trevor wants out. Anaheim might want him out. Anaheim's got a litany of young talent and center. Make that move, man. If you can't make that move, then bring me Dylan Cousins. Now, the problem with Cousins is this: he's actually under contract through 2030. The Flyers have to get creative, though, to bring him here. They'd have to clear a bunch of cap. And the trade would be heavy tilted towards Buffalo. But I think he could be coaxed out of Buffalo. Absolutely coaxed out of Buffalo. Buffalo's going nowhere. They're looking for pieces and players. Farabee, who's from Syracuse, so he's kind of going home, would fit nicely in Western New York. Morgan Frost would work in Buffalo. He likes wings. Right? You feeling me? Owen Tippett. I'd throw Tippett into that deal. Absolutely. A little sweetener. I gotta shed cap room. And then take your defenseman, Risto Leinen back. There you go. That would free up enough cap room for me to bring in Dylan Cousins. Now, do the actual Sabres make that move? Probably not. But we can make it happen. And my final player is Marco Rossi of the Wild. Again, another player who's under contract through 2025. So he's an RFA next year, like this summer coming up. He's an RFA. But RFA, hey, I can work that. You trade me. RFA is a team control type of situation. All the powers in the team's side. Young player. I would love to see him and Mitchkov work together. But the point is this. I want to give me something, man. Give me a present. Give the Flyer fans a present, Danny B. Show us that you're still there working this, and let us know that, yes, it's a rebuild. Yes, it takes time. But let us know that you're not like chained to a time. There's no reason why you can't add now versus 6 months or a year from now. We have a bunch of draft capital. 6 picks in the first 2 rounds of next summer's draft. Great stuff. But nothing coming in next season is going to affect the Flyers in 25-26. Nothing. None of those draft picks are going to affect anything next year for the Flyers. These draft picks are for 3-4 years down the road. Factored in those other players that the Flyers have drafted that may or may not hit. There's nothing wrong with bringing in a younger player, a superstar-like talent, and not a superstar, but a high-end talent player now. There's no timeline you have to follow. Would that not excite the fans? We brought in a number one center who's got some team control over the next 5 or 6 years, who will be there when things do turn. Because I don't think people are understanding what a rebuild means. A rebuild means no playoffs. A rebuild means no championships, but there's no timeline for when that's supposed to be. And the way we're talking around here is we better sit back and get ready and get relaxed because it's going to take forever. I disagree. Make a move now. Give me something, Santa. I want me a true number one centerman. Just one player. It's all I want. I'm telling you, one guy would turn a lot of this around. And it generates interest in the team. And maybe they do get in their playoffs this season. And maybe they fight and muck and grind their way through one round. Maybe they advance, maybe they don't. But right now they're a 500 club. And they're not going to finish that far off from a 500 club this year, currently constructed. So all that draft capital that they're going to expect to get over the next 2 rounds is going to be around that middle part of the round because they're not going to be bad enough to go up unless they trade a lot of that to go up for one player that could help you 2 or 3 years from now. Help us out, man. Bring in another player. So from the Flyers, I want a true number one centerman. Please, that's all I'm asking. I think it's fair, man, right? I mean, how frustrated are you watching the Flyers? They're just like, they're right there. They're a half a step behind. You know, they're one player away from 5 more wins. I don't see the fruit of what's currently on this team, I don't see these players being any better than they currently are. They've reached their zenith, in my opinion, my actual opinion. So give me something, man. Give me something to get excited about. Give me a centerman. One centerman. One. And I've given you 3. All right. Now let's talk the Eagles. Yes, my favorite topic. The Philadelphia 12-3, getting ready for the Dallas Cowboys. By the way, Dallas week. Does anybody care? Does anybody care that it's Dallas week? I don't. I mean, is it because Dallas is so bad that we don't care about Dallas week anymore? I said this way back in the beginning, earlier in the season, that I think Dallas week, part of the mystique of Dallas week is only when the Eagles can be bad, right? But the Cowboys can't be bad for Dallas week to work. If the Cowboys are bad, Dallas week doesn't work in this town. I mean, it's dying as it is now anyway, because it's just not the same type of football. We're too concerned about hard hits and nasty hits around here. So I don't know how we could get into an Eagle Cowboy rivalry like it used to be when I was growing up. I mean, most of y'all are too damn soft to handle that anyway. But does it not work when the Cowboys are bad? Does Dallas week have to work for does the Cowboys have to be good for Dallas week to work at all? I think it does. And when they're out of it, which they are, playing spoiler, which they are, could be bad news for the Eagles, absolutely, but it just doesn't really do anything. And as I said, now that the players don't hate each other and the teams don't hate each other, and apparently the fan bases don't hate each other anymore, I don't know. Dallas week seems to be dying on the vine for me. But anyway, Dallas week is this week, and we will have the Birds Blast, not with Kyle Quinn though. Kyle's got a obligation out of town this week, so Kyle will not be in for his show. He will not be joining me. I am working on a guest co-host. We're working on that right now as we speak. Well, not as we speak, but like kind of that way. So I'll let you know when and where the Birds Blast will be, but Kyle Quinn will not be here this week. But as I said, I will have a guest co-host. But so Eagles, what is my Christmas present request from the Philadelphia Eagles? There's so many. There are so many requests. There's so much I could ask for. And it's not even a matter of like with the Sixers, I had 4 or 5 requests. And with the Flyers, I had 1. Phillies, I had 1 or 2. With the Eagles, it's a little bit more complicated for me. It doesn't boil down to a player. It doesn't boil down to it boils down. There's some obvious choices. Yes, Howie Roseman, being fired. It would be. I mean, that would be Christmas, New Year's, and my birthday all wrapped into one if that happened. Sirianni getting fired, truly would be great. Even Jeff Lurie selling the team at this point. I'm really starting to question his commitment. So those are the obvious ones, right? But I'm not going to go there because it's so cliche and it's been done to death. And yes, I am who I am, and you all know that. And I'm anti-Howie, and I'm anti-Nick, and I'm allegedly now I'm anti-Jalen Hurts too. So, I will continue to run those cliches. But those are obvious presents. And I don't want to be obvious. If I have an opportunity to ask for one thing from the Philadelphia Eagles, I'm not going with the obvious stuff because that stuff should all work itself out in time anyway for me, especially the 2 big ones for me. So I'm not going obvious. I am going to go with an unobvious request from the Eagles. And that's to restore my hope in them, right? There was a time that I was the biggest homer, biggest green sunglass wearing mofo out there, right? There was a time that everything, the sun rose in its set with the Philadelphia Eagles, and they could do no wrong. And I was on that train of win or lose, they're still my team. I still believe. I still am in 100%. I 100% am fully committed to the Eagles. There was a time in my life when I was like that. The slobbering Homer fans that I reference so often, I used to be one. And I was one proudly. And I marched along with everybody else in that column. But of course, over the years of just being let down time and time again, lied to time in and time again, opportunities wasted time in and time again, it became harder and harder to persevere. And yeah, I know that's part of the mystique of being an Eagles fan. But then I got to thinking, why do we have to go and be that way? Why can't we be the dynasties? Why can't we have all the Super Bowls? Why can't we be a legitimate Super Bowl contending team year after year after year? Why? And the more and more I thought about that, the more and more disenfranchised I became with the Eagles. And then the debacle was running it back after the Super Bowl in 2017, running it back for 3 years. And then the mismanagement, in my opinion, of firing Doug Peterson for what happened in 2020. And I know it was alleged that he was fired because he wanted more power, more control, which, to be honest with you, I don't know why that's a bad thing. He was a Super Bowl winning coach. But all that, what I saw, and the dysfunctionality that Howie Roseman was allegedly building football teams and managing football teams and telling coaches who was playing and who's not playing, all of that began to kind of just take me over, and I just couldn't I couldn't say no to it anymore, man. I just gave in. And I became disenfranchised. But I don't want to be that way anymore. And part of the football season for me, I used to look forward to it so much. Now I don't. Because now I'm like, oh, another year of missed opportunity, and another year of high expectation, missed opportunity, and making excuses of why it didn't happen again. And I've had it, right? This fan base deserves what the Kansas City Chiefs have. This fan base deserves what the Patriots had, what the Cowboys had, what the 49ers had, what the Steelers had, so on and so forth throughout the ages. This fan base deserves that. And I'm tired of it not happening for them and for us. So what I want from the Eagles, aside from the obvious of firing Howie Roseman, firing Nick Sirianni, and now Jeff Lurie selling the team, what I want from the Eagles is I want my hope back. I want you to restore hope in me. And that's what I want. So if they could do that, that would help me get back in on trying to win a Super Bowl. So yeah, that was kind of like a more intrinsic one, hope. But you know what? That's where I am with this team, because it's become more, it's almost like I'm in a war, a battle. We have taken sides, and I'm like the leader of the anti-Eagle movement. Do you understand how tiring that is? You know, to almost not even be able to speak positively about the Eagles, about even seeing something that I enjoy that they did, or that I'm encouraged about what they're doing, but I know I can't talk about it because it affects my persona or my narrative that I've already set. All right. Yeah, how tough that is. And to not live and die with every play like I used to. And to see things now that I've never seen before that I don't want to see. I don't know. I just want my hope back. I want that restored in me. I want to come back to the nest, so to speak. And I want to root for this team, and I want to be an Eagle fan again. But I can't under the current regime. I can't under the current philosophies. Right? I can't in good conscience. Howie Roseman's a fraud. Nick Sirianni's a clown. And Jeff Lurie really has I'm not very overwhelmed anymore by Jeff Lurie. So I want my hope back. The Eagles got to give me hope. That's all. Just hope. Very small thing. Hope. There you have my request. There's my Christmas present request from all 4 major Philadelphia sports teams. I want a whole bunch of stuff from the Sixers. Give me Alex Bregman or Pete Alonso for the Phillies. Give me one centerman, one guy for the Flyers, and I want my hope back from the Eagles. And once you do all that, I'll be fine. And it's Christmas for another 2 hours. Come on, you have time. You can make it happen. So real quick, let's go. And we are running a little low on time. So I don't want to spend too much time here because I know you guys are wrapping up your Christmas and I want to wrap up mine. But we'll remind everybody that starting tomorrow, December 26, 2024, up there in Ottawa, Canada, the 2025 IIHC World Junior Championships will begin. And it is a tournament featuring some of the best and brightest future current, well, no current, but future drafted prospects, current prospect players of the NHL will all be on display starting tomorrow morning. The Team USA's first game, I believe, is at 2:00 against Germany. They'll start their title defense. They are the defending IIHF World Junior Championship champions, as they will defend their title starting tomorrow against Germany. And we at It's a Wrap Sports will be present for the tournament. How the logistics of this is going to work is going to be a little funky. So I am going to be base camping in Utica, New York, which is about 3 hours from Ottawa, and kind of rolling in and out on a day-to-day basis. And then championship weekend, I will be up there for the entire championship weekend, hopefully, or the medal round. Let's call it the medal round. I'll be in Ottawa for that entire event. But in the preliminary rounds, I will be moving in and out of Ottawa on a day-to-day basis, covering games that way, and base camping out of Utica, New York, the home of my wife. So just so you're aware of the logistical issue. I mean, I don't know why I have to tell you that, but we will be covering it and doing our best to bring that to you. Which brings me to a prospect segment of the night. It is the Of the Night segment here on the It's a Wrap Sports. Final word with MattyB. Yep. And then, of course, as you saw by that little tagline there, this is the part of the show where we talk about a Flyers prospect, a Phillies prospect, a Phillies draft target, a Flyers draft target, a Phillies spotlight player, or a Flyers spotlight player. And we just kind of break it down a little bit, introduce you to that player, talk about him or her a little bit, and just make sure that you are aware of what's happening in the minor leagues, or what's happening with your teams, as you know, players come and go a lot around here. So tonight, we're still stuck on the Flyer prospect side of it, but that's about to change as we are coming to the end of December, which means we are getting into the part of the starting in January. We're going to start breaking the NHL draft down for you. Starting in January, we're going to start breaking down some MLB draft stuff a little bit later, maybe into February for the MLB draft. And then starting in January, we're going to start spotlighting Phillies players as we get ready for the 2025 season. But we're still stuck right now primarily on Flyers prospects. So let's reveal our Flyer prospect of the night. He's a familiar one, Emil Andre, the left-handed defenseman who's currently with the Lehigh Valley Phantoms, the 5'9", 190-pound defender drafted in the second round of the 2020 NHL draft from the Flyers. Has been up and down with the Flyers. He's about to break free or about to break through, but he's still kind of going through his paces. The blue line is a crowded place for the Flyers these days. We have a lot of defensive prospects, but Emil Andre is up there as one of the current better ones, and was up with the Flyers just recently. Was just recently sent back. We highlighted a game of the other night against the Kings where he was made to look kind of silly on a Turcotte to Kopitar play late in the game there against the LA Kings, where he got kind of beat like a rented mule. So he was sent down right after that. I don't know if that had, I'm sure it has some effect, not complete effect, but Emil Andre is definitely on the brighter side of defensive prospects for this team. He's one of the top level ones that we have. He plays with a high work rate when the puck is close and does whatever he can once he has committed to winning a puck battle. Andre walks the line well to open shooting lanes from the point using his edges and body in an evasive way. He's got excellent vision from the point and can make great plays to set up his teammates with high danger chances. I think the one thing I take out of this bio breakdown of Emil Andre is and does whatever he can once he has committed to winning a puck battle. I think and we saw that with the Turcotte play. He did not commit on something with that play. He just stood there and allowed Turcotte to kind of turn him around. I think what Andre needs to do is just work on his decision-making skills. And it's not a quality that it's alone to him. A lot of the Flyer players have decision-making issues right now, speed-wise. Not right or wrong decision-making, but the speed of what decision they're going to make. And that's what I think the biggest problem for a lot of Flyers players is, and he's no different. So I think if Andre figures that out, and if they start coming faster, and if he starts understanding that good or bad, just make a decision and do something. When you don't make a decision or you wait too long, that's a whole other problem we have to work on. So if he can start making those decisions quicker and then ultimately making the right decisions quicker, I think he definitely will. He's part of the Flyers' future. I totally see him being part of the Flyer future, but currently back down in Lehigh Valley. He just went back last week. So far on the season with the Phantoms, Andre's numbers are not impressive. 3 games, just it's always been with them so far this year is 3 games. And I just had 3 games, no goals, 1 assist for 1 point and a -3. So, kind of starting to get his feet wet down there. I hope he's not there long. I hope the Flyers bring him back. And if we can start making some trades, maybe there's some room up here for him. But right now, back down in Lehigh Valley is Emil Andre, and he is your Flyer prospect of the night. So I hope you enjoyed that. Again, just kind of keeping you abreast on what's happening in the minor leagues and with some of our prospects. So there you have it. There's our Of the Night segment, which takes me to my best favorite segment of the night. Hit it.
Looks a little something like this. Looks a little bit like I can't miss. Hey, this is what you call a bad. What? This is what you call a bad. What? Looks a little something like this. Looks a little bit like I can't miss. Hey, this is what you call a bad. What? This is what you call a bad.
All right. Is the MattyB card review segment. This is the part of the show where I take one of my vast sports cards from my very vast sports card collection, and we talk about value, financial. We talk about value, nostalgic. We talk about any kind of value or memory that this card might have elicited, either about the card or the player, the team, the era, whatever. Just have some fun with it, man. This is my ultimate fun. I love this part of the show. Look forward to every night. And let's get it going. We're staying in baseball, and we're staying in 87 tops. I know for those of you that have been tuned in every night, we're kind of stuck in the 87 tops, but that's a reason. There's a reason for that, and that's because that is the only set that I've ever actually collected all of them. And 87 tops in general is probably one of the most largely distributed top set of all time. So every collector has hardcore amounts of 87 tops, and I am no different. So let's get it rolling with your card of the night. Again, staying in baseball and staying with the 87 tops. Our card of the night is 87 Gary Carter. Say what you want about the guy. He was one of the best catchers of my era growing up. He was like the bridge from Bench, from that era of Johnny Bench, Bob Boone. He's the bridge from Bench to Piazza is Gary Carter, right? He's in between there, those two eras. And nobody in that time did it better. First for, of course, the Expos, and then off to the Mets. And then I believe to the Dodgers at the end of his career. Taken from us in 2012, way too early in his life. Hall of Famer, one of the best that's ever done it. Say what you will. As it said, his 87 card is an actual moment against the Phillies, as you can look there. $5 for anybody who can tell me who number 15 is and who number 16 is. $5. And if you can't reveal it in the next 2 seconds, I will let you know who those two players are, because I want to test your Phillies sports knowledge. There's 2 Phillies pictured in this card with Gary Carter. There's number 15 standing up there by the dugout, and the batter is number 16. Now, remember, this picture was probably taken during the 86 season. So remember that. It's going to help you in trying to figure it out. I'm see how you hardcore Phillies fans are in terms of picking it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, 0. I have no answers. Number 15 was Rick Shue. And number 16 was Luis Aguilera. Remember him? Yep, that's right. Sit all down, you wannabe Phillies fans. Good God. Didn't know who Rick Shue was? I do. All right, back to Gary Carter. And oh yeah, I guess a bonus question would be, who is that standing in the dugout with his hands on his hips? What number is that? Actually, let me see. I bet you I can see it better by the card. That's a gimme right there. Come on, you gotta know who that is. That's Mike Schmidt. 3 Phillies pictured in this card right now are Rick Shue, Mike Schmidt, and Luis Aguilera. God, you guys are horrible. Anyway, Gary Carter, one of the best catchers all around this game has ever seen. Like him or not, and I obviously didn't like him because he was a Met and then an Expo, or an Expo then a Met. Always a thorn in the Phillies' ass. But you know what? Did it well. This card is a cool card. I mean, I love the way this card is set up. It's an action shot card. And you never can go wrong with action cards. Again, it's the Phillies are pictured in it. Love the iconic 87 Topps borders anyway. It's one of my favorite card sets of all time. A lot of people feel that way. But this card is essentially worthless. It really is. The most I could find it for like $1.50. So if you're looking to make $1 million off of Gary Carter and his 87 Topps card, you need a lot of them, which there's a lot of them out there, and that's part of the problem. But there you have it. Tonight's card of the night is the 87 Gary Carter Topps, and here it is in its physical form. And again, for the bonus question of the night, the 3 Phillies pictured in the card are Luis Aguilera batting, Rick Shue waiting on deck, and Mike Schmidt standing in the dugout with his hands on his hips. That's why I am MattyB. But there you have it. Gary Carter's 87 Topps. And truly, again, an iconic card. It really is. From an iconic era with an iconic player. All right. So I think that's going to do it for me tonight. Yeah, we're going to end this tonight. Don't forget, though, on the network, starting tomorrow, we're back to, I mean, we never really stopped from our regular programming, but tomorrow we'll be back. No Flyers post game yet, as the Flyers won't be back on action until Saturday, but when they are back in action, I will have you on Saturday in Anaheim as they're heading out west. Cutter Gauthier in his house, or we should say we're going to Cutter Gauthier's his house. But Flyers and Ducks on Saturday. Maybe we make the Trevor Zegras trade right now, seeing how we're going to be out there. And then on Sunday, they're going to go back-to-back against the Kings. I have you for all 3. I had you for Monday as well, as the holiday freeze is ending, but the Flyers will get back at it on Saturday, and I have you. So that's clear the ice for the rest of the week. And then the Birds Blast with Kyle Quinn. As I mentioned, Kyle will not be on the show this week. He's got a business trip, or he's not going to be. He's leaving town. I'm not going to tell you where he's going, but he's leaving town. He won't be back until Sunday morning. I'm not going to have him hurry back from the airport in order to do the show. So I'm going to have a special fill-in co-host for the Birds Blast with Kyle Quinn. Stay tuned on the time of when we're going to do that. We haven't figured that out. And then, of course, my show, The Final Word, will be back tomorrow night at its regular scheduled time at 9:00, as we will have more action. We'll update you on the IHA, the major juniors will start and all that. So we'll have some fun. We'll kick it back off. We'll get it rolling. There you go. There's my show, Sunday through Thursday at 9. So tomorrow is our final show of the week, and we'll do it in style as we'll continue on the great conversation. Eagles and Cowboys. Does Jalen Hurts play? We'll see. Ain't looking good. And now we got Kenny Pickett dealing with rib issues. So could be a Tanner McKee weekend for the Philadelphia Eagles. We'll see how if that does anything to the offense, which allegedly it might. But we'll get into that tomorrow and beyond. So I want to wish you guys, again, from the bottom of my heart, we're all tongue-in-cheek, kidding aside, Merry Christmas. I hope your day was great. I hope your Christmas Eve was amazing. I hope at the end of the day, you got everything that you wanted. And if you think you didn't get everything that you wanted, you probably need to step back and think about it, and you'll probably find out that you did. It may not have been what you expected, but you probably got what you wanted. And from my family, my wife, Nina, my daughters, Kylie, Ashlyn, Delaney, my stepdaughter, Quinn, and my stepson, Burke. I want to wish you, from the Bernarchek family or the Bernarchek Mullen family, I want to wish you guys a Merry Christmas. And again, enjoy the last couple hours. We'll be back tomorrow night. Keep this thing going. Keep this party hopping as we we'll wrap up our broadcasting week. And again, the Birds Blast with Kyle Quinn. Hopefully, we'll be seeing at some point tomorrow too. But if not, it will come at you this weekend. Until we talk again, have a great rest of your Christmas and have an even better tomorrow. Take care, guys.
I'll be coming up hot for a minute. Everybody know the drop when I'm in it. Drop the top when I'm in it. Everybody know the drop when I'm in it. Yeah, I go so yo. Everybody know I'm you know when they click through to the and it's about to be a show, be fine.